Welcome to RaceDay Nation. Hi, I'm Rob D'Amico. Yes, usually I'm by my side. I got a co-host named Michelle Rahal. Unfortunately, the way the news cycle happens, we record a show on Sunday evening right after the race, and we find out there's been a disqualification. So we have day jobs. So at my lunch today, I'm doing the show by myself from my studio at the offices because I do have a studio there as well. I have one at home and here at the offices. So he can't join me today, but unfortunately, we got to go on with the show, and here I am doing it by myself. So if you're watching on Racing America on Stream TV, whether it's Zumo, Plex, Local Now, those are some of the outlets there, or you're seeing it on our website, racedaynation.com, or our YouTube. We appreciate you stopping by. There's no doubt about that. Plus, you can also get the audio version on anywhere you listen to podcasts. So it's all available there for you. So we do appreciate it each and every week that you do join us here on the program. Unfortunately, Michelle's not joining us today, but he'll be back for next week's show. We air Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Racing America streaming television. So that's where you can catch the show. And then on our YouTube and our regular website, racedaynation.com. This segment is brought to you by Rhino Classics. Sell fast and list for free at rhino.co. All right, so the breaking news that did happen last night was that Denny Hamlin, the winner, that's right, he did win yesterday, but wait, he got disqualified. Him and second place, Kyle Busch, both disqualified from the race. And we have a clip from the press conference that happened after the race late yesterday evening into the nighttime. It was Brad Morin talking about, he's the managing director for the NASCAR Cup Series, talking about what happened and why these two cars were disqualified. Let's listen in.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were doing our post-race inspections, which we do. There was some issues discovered that affect aero of the vehicle. The part was the
he looks so ashamed.
Front fascia, and there really was no reason why there was some material that was somewhere that it shouldn't have been, and that does basically come down to a DQ. It is a penalty. Both first 11 of Denny Hamlin and the 18 of Kyle Busch been DQ'd. Their vehicles are being loaded in a NASCAR hauler. They're going to go back to the R&D center. The final results have been changed to show that the two DQs were there, and they have the opportunity to appeal it, and it'll be all sorted out by next week. So, like Mike said, I can't get into all the details of what the issues were, but both vehicles had the same issue, and unfortunately, they were not acceptable to pass the inspection.
Very interesting stuff there. One, to me, he looks, looks ashamed that he's announcing this. I don't know. It just was a little bizarre to me. And the second part of it is that, listen, the two top finishing cars, both Joe Gibbs Racing cars, the 11 of Denny Hamlin and the 18 of Kyle Busch, both disqualified from the race, handing over and giving the race basically right over to Chase Elliott, who took advantage of that situation because that's the guy who leads the regular points right now. And we're going to get into all this coming up in our next segment, but these are some of the things that we're seeing coming out of these races. Guys are trying different things. What was it? The petty GMS guys just got busted with the 42 and the 43 with the rocker box screen that they had. And, the rocker panel that's on the side of the car, there must be some kind of box behind that has a screen on it. Theirs was mounted on the outside or something like that. I don't know enough about it. I don't want to speak on it because I'm not educated enough on the car, the next generation car. So something going on there, something with material on the front end fascia of the Joe Gibbs cars, disqualifying those guys. So very interesting weekend at Pocono. We'll talk about the big crash in the Xfinity series. That's coming up on the show. We also going to be talking about F1, the Hungarian, that's coming up next. The French GP that they just had. We'll talk about that a little bit. And I want to make mention, there were a couple guys, leaders for that matter, like Denny Hamlin, missing out on a sure win with a disqualification. Some of the other guys, and talking about a bad day for some of the leaders in IndyCar, it was Josef Newgarden, who spins and crashes out in race 2 after winning race 1 the day before. So very disappointing for these guys. And it happened again in F1. In F1, it was Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. He spins and crashes out when he's leading all by himself. And it was their race to win. I mean, they did everything they had to do to get the car qualified and sitting up front and right where it needs to be. And listen, nobody had anything for those guys. And he spins the car all by himself and takes himself out of the race, crashes out. And unfortunately, just a really bad day for the Ferrari guys. They made terrible decisions on pit lane. And that gave basically the race over to Max Verstappen, who took advantage of it, just like, Chase Elliott did in the Cup race. So just some bizarre things with the leaders going on in these races. We're going to talk about them. Coming up next, in our next segment, we are going to talk about the race from Pocono, the Cup Series race. We're going to get you the results, the points, and what the playoff picture looks like coming up, because that's very important. This just changed the landscape dramatically. That's all coming up next, right here on RaceDay Nation. Welcome back to RaceDay Nation. I'm Rob D'Amico. Again, usually I have a co-host here, Michelle Rahal, not with me today due to some circumstances here with the breaking news that we've had and some of our day jobs come into play here. So bear with us. We appreciate you tuning in each and every week, no matter what. But this week, I'm by myself here, and I'm doing all the controls. So if you see me scrambling a little bit, that's the reason why. All right, we're going to get into it. Cup racing at the Poconos. And it was a great race. Listen, there was some side-by-side. There was a lot of crashing going on. There was passing. These guys with these tire issues that they're having and the car breaking loose pretty quick. We saw some of that going on. You saw Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain getting into it. Denny kind of getting a little payback, asked at the end of the race when he got to victory lane. We just explained that his car was DQ'd and it was disqualified due to some materials on the front end of the car. So he loses that winning position. So does Kyle Busch, the second place driver. They go to the back of the field. So what's that change? How does that change the results, the points, and the playoff picture? Well, we're going to get into that here in a second. But again, going back to Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain, on a restart, Denny Hamlin kind of runs Ross wide up into the marbles. And Ross, being the aggressive guy he is, said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to back out of this. Screw him. We're going to go for this. If you're going to do this, this is how we're going to play. I raced you that way. You can race me this way. And he did it. And Ross crashed out of the race. Unfortunate for him. So in the end, who actually got the last laugh? Because, yeah, Denny Hamlin did go on to win the race, but his car was disqualified, and there he is. And listen, a lot of people didn't like it. He got boos. And I think that it didn't affect Denny, but Denny had his daughter down there. And unfortunately for her, it upset her to hear those boos. And I understand that. But listen, you're going to get your kids involved. They got to understand what's going on, what the play is on the track. There are people you're pissing off. There are people that are pissing off you. And listen, I think it was Dale Earnhardt Sr. who said this, is that if you're not pissing off somebody, then you're not doing your job, right? You got to make them, whether they're cheering for you or booing for you, at least they're doing something for you. If they're not doing anything and you walk out on a stage or you're after a win and nobody gives a crap, that's when you have to have serious concerns. So listen, hey, Denny, he did his thing. Unfortunately, daughter got upset. It was I was, a little sad. Listen, I'm not the biggest Denny Hamlin fan at all. But listen, you went out there, you got booed. His daughter, I kind of felt bad for that whole situation. But listen, Chase Elliott goes on the win. We'll talk about that here in a second. But I also want to talk about some of the problems we saw on this track. Tires, turn 3. Getting hard crashes into that inside wall. I know Ryan Blaney hit the wall. You had Kurt Busch who hit it during qualification and couldn't race. Ty Gibbs had a fill in for him. And Ty Gibbs, you got to love this kid because look at this. So you get the call. Okay, you're an 18-year-old kid, 19 years old. You get the call. Kurt Busch was injured, can't pass, not cleared to race for the race after a qualification crash due to symptoms of concussion. So now he has to show up. He has to learn this new car. I don't think he gave a crap about that because, look, this is him at the beginning of the race. Oh, come on. What 18-year-old kid isn't going to love this, right? I mean, two hot chicks, race car, you're in the Cup Series. Look at you. I'm the main man out here. And here he looks a little more nervous getting into the car. But a great story there. He did well. Finished 18th. Listen, did his job, kept the car clean, got to the end, took the checkered flag. So congrats to him. Congrats. I hope wishing Kurt Busch, which we'll get into some news and rumors later on in the show about Kurt on where he's heading in the next couple of weeks, with a hint about retirement. So let's look at the Chase Elliott goes on to win the race. So I do want to pull up some of the results here. Chase Elliott does win the race, getting his fourth win of the season. And guess what? Didn't even lead a lap. Tyler Reddick second, Daniel Suarez, Christopher Bell, and you see all the way up there, Eric Jones and Austin Dillon up into the top 10 now. So what does that do for points? Well, the regular season points, Chase Elliott now 105 points ahead of Ross Chastain. Ryan Blaney up there in regular season points. But look what happens when we get into the playoff picture. Changes dramatically. And you also see a newcomer in the top 10, Kevin Harvick there. So let's look at that playoff picture right now. Chase Elliott with 4 wins now, up to the top. Ross Chastain, 2 wins. Second, Joey Logano. As I mentioned, Denny Hamlin drops all the way back to 5th. Unfortunate for him, but that's how it all plays out once you get into this. Same thing with Kyle, drops down to 8th. And then you have the guys with all the 1 wins there, all the way to Kurt Busch. Then the guys with no wins, but enough points to get in the chase right now is Ryan Blaney and also Martin Truex Jr. So that's what the playoffs look like right now. When we come back, we're going to talk about the IndyCar doubleheader that took place at Iowa Speedway and some drama there as well. We're getting into that next. Stick around. It's Race Day Nation.
Welcome to the new home for race fans, Racing America. Live short track racing. Exclusive team content.
I bet, that's what they all say.
Any NASCAR fan is really a short track fan at heart.
Behind the scenes access. From grassroots to NASCAR, join us at the home for race fans everywhere. Racing America, it's in our DNA.
Welcome back. It's RaceDay Nation. I'm Rob D'Amico. The show is presented by, this segment's brought to you by the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience. Log on to biggreenegg.com. You can shop online with free home delivery. That's right. They'll deliver it to your house for free. So check it out online. Again, that's biggreenegg.com. When you're looking for performance, like we are here on this show, we love performance, right? The Big Green Egg delivers. There's no doubt about that. And it'll be delivered to your house for free. All right, we're getting into segment number 3 here, where we had a doubleheader at Iowa Speedway. And, with race number 1, we had Josef Newgarden dominate. This guy owns this series when they come to Iowa Speedway. I think he's got like 4 wins out of the last 6 races or something crazy like that, right? But he gets the victory lane. Congratulations to him. Pato O'Ward was second, Will Power third. Remember those 2 names. And then you had Rinus VeeKay, Scott Dixon, Alex Palou, Romain Grosjean, Marcus Ericsson, Graham Rahal, Christian Lundgaard, just to name a few here in the top 10. But then we had race number 2, but it was the domination of that guy, number 2, right out front. And you see how these guys finished here this week. In race 1. When they go to race 2, it changes up a little bit, because what happens to Josef Newgarden in race number 2? Well, he spins all by himself, crashes into the wall. He has to retire. Unfortunately, dominating the race again, crashes the car. We've heard this all weekend long, and is out of the race. So what happened now? Well, we go to race number 2, and the results are Pato O'Ward again, sitting up there with the most points, dominated the race after that, and really did what he had to do. Made the pass on Will Power, got to the front. It's his 4th career win, double podium for him, max points on the weekend. Will Power was second. Again, he had a double podium. Scott Dixon right there in fourth. I will say I give props to Scott McLaughlin as well, being up there. But Scott Dixon, what he's quietly doing right now is sneaking up on these guys in the points. He's really making some waves now, and this is what Scott Dixon does. These guys up at the front in the points, we're going to get into it here in a second. You got to pay attention to that guy because that old guy can get it done. There's no doubt about that. So let's finish out. Jimmy Johnson, I got to give the man props. His best finish in IndyCar. What a fantastic job he did. And it just shows that he can get the job done on the ovals, not so much the road courses or street courses yet. But he's in a different car, new kind of car, open wheel. But I was really surprised he was able to use that high line and started really showing that he can get up there and you can race up there. The problem with it is that it got a little loose at times, so he had to pay attention to that. And I think that's where some of the other guys won't go up there yet because they're not sure how to set up the car to run up there like that, like he did. And again, best finish in IndyCar for Jimmy Johnson, 5th place. Marcus Ericsson, Felix Rosenquist, Dave Malukas, Romain Grosjean, and Takuma Sato round out your top 10 in IndyCar. So what does that do for the points right now? Well, these guys just were on it. Again, I got to give props to Pato O'Ward, was able to get there, double podium, max points. Great job on his part and getting that McLaren up there. This McLaren and what's his name? Zach Brown. This is exactly what they're looking for in this series. Is starting to dominate and show what Pato O'Ward can do because, again, remember, he's in the rumor mill about moving, whether to F1, who might be his co-driver, stuff like that. So we may have to see how this all plays out, or I shouldn't say co-driver, his teammate, things like that. So we'll have to see how that all irons out here in the last few weeks with the IndyCar series. We'll get into where they're heading next later on in the program, so stick around for that. And don't forget, you can also find all of our information at RaceDayNation.com. We got the show archives, the podcasts, latest news, rumors. It's all up there for you as well. All right, so let's take a look at IndyCar points. Marcus Ericsson is still your points leader at 403. Will Power is second. Josef Newgarden is third. Scott Dixon, Pato O'Ward, Alex Palou, Scott McLaughlin, Colton Herta, again, rumors with his name as well. Felix Rosenquist, rumors around him. Alexander Ross, we know, is moving. So some silly season going on right now, and that's take a look at your points in the IndyCar series. So there's a lot of moving parts we got in the IndyCar series. But right now, I'm going to take a break, and when we come back, we were just talking about ovals and road courses and street racing. How about that? In NASCAR, that's what I love to see. That's right, NASCAR going street racing, and we're going to talk about all that coming up next right here on RaceDay Nation. Stick around. Welcome back to RaceDay Nation. I'm Rob D'Amico. You can find our information on RaceDayNation.com. This segment is brought to you by Rhino Classifieds. Sell fast and list for free at rhino.co. That's .co. All right, check them out. And don't forget, they have the Racers Support Tour 2.0. You can check that out. Again, that's rhino.co. All right, we were talking about street racing. I'm excited about this because I love street racing. I love seeing it in IndyCar. I love seeing it in F1. I love seeing the guys in IMSA try to do some of that stuff. I know it's a little tougher. They're getting ready to go to Detroit. Well, now with NASCAR going to Chicago with a street race in downtown Chicago, this is going to be spectacular. I cannot wait to see this. So what's going to happen is the IMSA guys and the NASCAR guys are going to share the weekend, and they're going to race on the streets of downtown Chicago. And I'm going to play this little video here of the iRacing guys put together what the track will look like and actually put it together in iRacing. So this is really cool. Check this out. So that was the start-finish line. They're on the streets. This street is going to be the first time in 2023. It'll be July 1st through the 2nd in 2023. Both NASCAR and IMSA hit the 12-turn, 2.2-mile street course that includes Lakeshore Drive, Michigan Avenue, and Columbus Drive in downtown Chicago. You're going to have the buildings in the background. What I like about this track, it's pretty wide, and it keeps the speed up. So you have some medium speed corners and high speed straights. So this is really going to be neat. There's a couple of, some tight turns, but I think you could still carry. You could see they're carrying quite a bit of speed through here. And I think once you get on the track, what's going to happen is that those corners are going to narrow up a little bit because of the apex and the line these guys start to pick. Getting side by side may create some problems. And listen, this is not like a road course where if you go off course, it's okay. What am I going to do? Hit a curb, go through the runoff, hit the kitty litter? No, here you're hitting that wall right there. That wall will kill that car and take out all the performance that you had in it. So you have to pay attention. You will have to race this place a lot differently. Listen, these cars don't break that well. They're heavy, and that's another concern. These tracks like this with a heavy car, those barriers, keeping everybody in place when they're out on the streets like that. So that'll be interesting to see. I can't wait. I think this is a nice addition to the NASCAR schedule. And this is something we've been talking about on this show, not just for RaceDay Nation, going back to our Race Day on Fox days. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Michelle and I used to do a show called Race Day on Fox. We were on air, syndicated in 400 radio stations across the country. We did our live feed on Speed Television back when Speed was around. And we did a few things like that. We talked about more road racing and street racing back then for NASCAR, and they're finally coming around. Listen, we got more road racing on the schedule. We got this street race coming up in 2023. So things to get excited about if you're a road racing kind of guy. And what I think is really cool, like this coming weekend with NASCAR and IndyCar at the Indy Road Course, you're going to see this with NASCAR and IMSA. And this is really going to play dividends well for all series, because I'd love to see more of this. Give more to the person that's going to be at the race when they buy that ticket. Give them more entertainment. Give them more on-track action. Not just one series. Now I get to go see over the weekend, the course of a weekend, I get to go see IMSA cars out there, Ferraris, the Lamborghinis. I mean, these supercars that you see out on the streets. You get to see these cars. Then you get to see the Daytona prototypes as well, the Cadillacs, all the cool looking Acuras that they have out there, not to mention Porsche, and go take it a step further and go with the GS class as well. You have the Camaros, the Chevys, all these great cars are out there, and you get to see NASCAR as well. So pretty exciting weekend. I think I'm going to have to get out to that one for next year on July 1st. Again, a 22 turn, 2.2 mile street course in the streets of downtown Chicago. Man, it doesn't get better than that. I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know if you can tell, but I am pretty excited about that. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Truck Series race, because they had their season finale at Pocono. Is that the track to necessarily have a season finale at? We'll discuss that coming up. But we also set the playoffs. They only do 10 drivers going into the playoffs. So we're going to talk about who they are and what can they do once they get in these playoffs, and see what their 10 races left of the season may be for those guys. Plus some news about Todd Bodine. It's all coming up next right here on Race Day Nation. I'm Rob D'Amico. Stick around. Welcome back to Race Day Nation. I'm Rob D'Amico. Yes, I usually have Michelle Rahal by my side. Unfortunately, with all the news that was breaking, we had to redo the show because we usually shoot it on Sunday evenings. And then you guys can watch it on Racing America's streaming TV channel Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The show is presented by Rhino Classifieds. You can get all their information at rhino.co. Sell fast and list for free at rhino.co. All right, check us out on the web at racedaynation.com. You can also follow me on social media at Rob D'Amico, ROBDAMICO. All right, truck racing at Pocono. The season finale for these guys, the regular season finale for these guys before they jump into the playoffs. So let's take a look at the results from the race first. And we saw that Chandler Smith got the win. Congratulations to him. Great little battle between him and Ryan Prix there at the end of the race. John Hunter Nemechek was third. Corey Heim, Carson Hocevar was fifth. Austin Hill, 6th. Ty Majeski, Kristen Akis, Derek Kraus, and Tanner Gray round out your top 10. But Chandler Smith did a fantastic job. Nice little battle with Ryan Prix there at the end, but got it to victory lane and helps him with his chances running for this championship, because after this race, they talked about, the playoffs now and where they're going to be. And listen, every win and every point you can get matters. Every single race. It's every position. I don't care if you're not winning, if you can get a stage win or if you can get another point out on the racetrack, get it, because it all makes a difference here at the end. I do have some video of him in the press box talking about his win and what to expect coming up in the next 10 races.
I was dominating the race all day. It was in clean air. Never really got in dirty air all day. So I didn't really know what our truck was going to do when I got in dirty air. So when he did get by me, we took a huge shift. Like, our truck was not that great. But luckily a restart came. All 3 KBM trucks lined up. We were all in the inside lane. Corey gave me a really good push. The 4 gave him a really good push. And ultimately, that's what led to us getting the victory.
Oh, congratulations to you. Congratulations to the entire team. So now we're going to look at some of the points now with the Truck Series. And this is the top 10 going into the playoffs. These are your top 10 drivers in the playoffs for the Truck Series. Zane Smith on top with 2,037 points. Chandler Smith, great opportunity, gain some more points. 2022 are his points. And then you have Ben Rhodes, John Hunter Nemechek, Stuart Friesen, Christian Akis, Ty Majeski, Carson Hocevar, Grant Infinger, and Matt Crafton. The old guy gets one in there for the old geezers, if you will, out there in the Truck Series, getting it done, still making the playoffs. Congratulations to all those guys. And I got to tell you, man, they put on a great show. It was a great race out there. My only problem is that when you look at the Cup Series and you see that they're going to Daytona with the regular season finale and how to make it in, and that's such a crazy race, and things happen and you can crash out or you could be the unexpected winner. You don't have that hype here at Pocono for the Truck Series, guys, and I wish they had that, but they don't, unfortunately. I will say I want to give props to one of our old friends of the show back on the Race Day on Fox days, is Todd Bodine. Todd Bodine had his 800th career start. And this dude, man, what a powerhouse. Seriously, look at these numbers. 240 in the Cup Series, 333 in Xfinity, and 226 in the Truck Series. So big props go out to the old man, Todd Bodine. Unfortunately, he was wrecked out in lap 12 by Haley Deegan. In other news, all right, when we take a break, we come back. We're going to talk about the F1 French Grand Prix and how Ferrari screwed up everything. It's all next right here on RaceDay Nation. Welcome back to RaceDay Nation. I'm Rob D'Amico. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. And if you're catching our show on Racing America, thank you for tuning in there as well. You can also find us at our website, racedayNation.com. All right, we were talking some racing. We've got IndyCar under our belt. We got the NASCAR Cup Series. We got the trucks. We still have Xfinity to come. We have some news and rumors we're going to be talking about as well. And NASCAR teams wanting more money of the TV money. And it's not like they have it in F1. The teams here don't get, I think, about 25% of the TV money. 10% goes to NASCAR, and 65% goes to the racetracks. It's a little different in F1 because the racetracks don't get that much money. The teams get the majority of the money, with the obviously, the series getting the money and all that stuff. The reason being, in F1, the tracks are more of a government subsidized deal because it is a national deal, and the government will put money behind that to see if, it generates revenue and brings people to the cities and into the state and brings some country, I should say, and brings awareness to the country and things like that. So it does help out. It's just set up a little different. We'll get into the NASCAR stuff here in a little bit. But first, I want to recap the F1 race out at the French Grand Prix. Beautiful racetrack. I absolutely love it. Great speed. It put on a great race. We saw some incredible qualifying. We saw that they had Carlos Sainz, who had to go to the back, help his teammate, Charles Leclerc, get the pole. They really worked hard on, carrying the draft, getting the speed, getting him through the sectors fastest so they can get the pole. Because with the pole, it comes along with the finishing position that you want. Unfortunately for Charles Leclerc, it was his race to lose, and he lost it. Yeah, he spun all by himself, crashed the car, could not finish the race, and was out of the race. Ferrari not even on the podium, and this was their chance to start making up some of those points on Max Verstappen, and they could not pull it off. So let's take a look at the points right now. I should say the results. Max Verstappen with the Red Bull, congratulations to him, getting the win, adding more points to his championship battle with Charles Leclerc, who crashed out from the lead. And it just continues these weird things with Ferrari. They made a weird decision with Carlos Sainz as well. He's racing there with trying to pass Sergio Perez, battling him hard, starts to make the position, gets in front of him, and they come over to the radio and tell him box, 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 which means pit. And he's like, what the hell are you guys talking about? I'm not doing that. That's crazy, and it's like that once they lost Charles Leclerc out of the race, they were kind of, and the commentators said this, as they were nose down and trying to run these calculations and trying to see what they can come up with, and it just screwed up. And their whole strategy, and I don't know if this is something that is Matteo Binotto's problem. I don't know if it's him or if it's the decision making under him, but ultimately he is responsible. Will there be some changes there where either he takes control and gets rid of somebody, or does he himself get knocked out of that position? We'll have to see. So let me give you the rest of the results here. We have Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, both Mercedes, for the first time in 2022 on the podium. Sergio Perez was fourth. Carlos Sainz made it back up to fifth after that bizarre call. Fernando Alonso was sixth place. Lando Norris, congratulations to them with the McLaren. Both McLarens in the points. Esteban Ocon in Alpine, and Daniel Ricciardo, and then Lance Stroll rounding out the top 10. So congratulations to all those guys. But again, it was Max Verstappen taking advantage of the situation like most of the winners this weekend did, and getting on the podium and getting that win. So what does that look like, and what does that do for points? Well, let's take a look at that. Max Verstappen is on top with 233. Charles Leclerc, 170, Sergio Perez, 163, Carlos Sainz with that other Ferrari, 144, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, Mercedes sitting there, Lando Norris with a McLaren, Esteban Ocon with the Alpine, Valtteri Bottas, and Fernando Alonso rounding out your top 10 in points right now. So not a bad battle. These guys will head to the Hungarian GP, and we'll catch that next weekend as well. So some good stuff to look forward to. There's no doubt about that. But I thought, listen, it was a great race. It looked awesome on TV. I just love all those stripes and, what it looks like and how fast it looks. And those guys put on a great show. But Ferrari, you really screwed up this time. If you lose the championship, it's not just because of this race. It'll be for a few mistakes that you've made along the way. And unfortunately for you, I think it screwed up your opportunity to get that those very valuable points. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the Xfinity Series is on the docket with Pocono and Noah Gragson in Victory Lane. Let's talk about that coming up next right here on RaceDay Nation. Welcome back to RaceDay Nation. I'm Rob D'Amico. Pocono, Xfinity race. Great race. Bad crash. It was Jeb Burton. They were coming off of 3 and problems all day long coming off of turn 3, not only in truck, Xfinity, and Cup, but we saw a hard crash as one car came across. Jeb Burton tried to squeeze between it and the wall, and the car nailed him, pushing the car up in the air and then flipping onto its lid. I got to give props to the safety crew that got out there and really did their part and got him out of that car safely. That's the most important thing out of this race. Secondly, Noah Gragson gets the win. Congratulations to him. Just a good race for the kid. Had a great battle there with Ty. Gibbs. This was his 8th career win. He has 13 top 10s on the season. And what's cool about him, he does his burnout, right? You can see the results here. Ty Gibbs, Josh Berry, Allmendinger, some of the names there in the top 10. You can see those online on our website, RaceDayNation.com. But he gets out, he does his burnout, he climbs the fence, does the whole Tony Stewart, Spider-Man, Elio Castroneves thing, and then he gets down and he throws up. And then Parker Kligerman's trying to do an interview with him, and he's still throwing up. Just bizarre. But congratulations to him. Here he is in the press box talking about his win and his race with Ty Gibbs, for that matter.
Yeah, I think so. I think we raced each other hard, but raced each other clean. And after Portland, I had a chit chat, if you want to call it, with him, and a talk, and told him how I felt and in person and what the consequences were, and I was kind of over it. So I think that might have changed how he raced us today, but nonetheless, got to give a lot of respect for him for the way he raced us today. And I feel like I race guys the way they're racing us, and he raced us hard and clean, and we'll continue to race him hard and clean.
That's a great statement. Listen, those two hotheads are kind of getting it together and being able to get out there and race each other the way they should be racing other people. And he mentioned it in there because of his incident with Sage Karam before. And Sage Karam, obviously back at this racetrack in this race, the Xfinity race, he was involved in that crash with Justin Wilson, lost his life at Pocono. So for him to even get there and get behind the wheel again and do some of that stuff, props to him as well. The bizarre part of this whole thing was when Dale Earnhardt Jr. jumped into the press box and had to, say a few words of his own, which I thought was a little bizarre. And I'm going to play this for you because let's count how many times he mentions Ty Gibbs in this one. Check this one out.
Yeah, I know it's kind of strange coming off of the broadcast to come in here, and I probably wouldn't come in here if I was working the race, but I just wanted to take an opportunity to talk about Ty Gibbs and Noah and how well they raced together, and I was so impressed by Ty. And
2,
he was in a situation where it would have been easy for him to use up Noah a little bit and raced him even a little bit harder without any real repercussion, and he raced real clean. So I was just pretty taken aback by that, and I think now it's on Noah when they're in that same situation to have to give him that same amount of respect. So just wanted an opportunity to say that. We worked real hard to try to keep our drivers going in the right direction, not just on the racetrack but off the racetrack, and mature and grow, and I think both those guys learned a lot out there, and you could see some progress on both ends. But it was a great race to watch. It's easy for us to say that sitting here as the winners, but I just wanted to publicly say how impressed I am with Ty. He takes some criticism and he makes changes, and he improves, he evolves. Everything you'd want in a driver, in terms of seeing a mistake or seeing not really a mistake, but seeing the repercussions from something and trying to be better going forward. And so pretty interesting. And both those guys, Kyle Petty said it on the pit box at the end of the race, they're going to be racing each other a long time. At least that's what they hope to do. And so at some point they've got to establish some middle ground and ability to be able to compete. And I think we're seeing that, hopefully.
It's just bizarre to me that he gave so much prop to Ty Gibbs. And I think this is more of a message to Noah to say, Noah, straighten up, buddy. This is how you race. Yeah, he's pissed you off. Yes, you pissed him off, but he raced you clean. He raced you hard, and it was fair and square. So I think that was more of a message to Noah to say, hey, buddy, open your eyes. See what this kid is doing. This will make you a champion. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to close the show with news and rumors and why NASCAR teams want more money. It's all right here on RaceDay Nation. Welcome back to RaceDay Nation. Don't forget, the show is presented by Rhino Classifieds. Sell fast and list for free at rhino.co. All right, you can follow along with me, Rob D'Amico, ROBDAMICO on social media, on all of them. You can find them there. Again, that's ROBDAMICO. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it. And don't forget, you can find our shows at RaceDayNation.com. Our show on television on Racing America is Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to check that out. And our podcast available on all the available podcasts. Wherever you get your podcast, you'll find us there as well. So we appreciate everybody stopping by. And listen, on our Facebook and YouTube, you can leave comments. You can leave comments on our social media. We love talking about them here on the show. You can also follow Michelle. He usually does the show with me. Unfortunately, he's not here. Michelle Rahal. Due to the circumstances of everything that happened over the weekend with disqualifications and all that stuff. So we had to revamp everything because we do this show Sunday nights. And unfortunately, all this stuff broke that night and we already had the show in the can. So here we are redoing it and getting the show out there for you guys. And I hope you appreciate it because we love doing this show. All right, let's get into the news and rumors. The one big one I think this week we talked about was the teams wanting more money. And Steve Phelps came out and said, hey, we're going to negotiate, but not in the media. It doesn't make sense to. But behind closed doors, we are going to do what we believe is fair, but fair and put forth what we believe is fair relationships with our teams. Again, not in the limelight, but behind the scenes, they're going to work out all this stuff. Currently, the tracks get the majority of the money at 65%. Teams get 25% and NASCAR gets the other 10%. But let's not kid ourselves. NASCAR also is a part of that tracks money. So they're getting that 65% as well. So that's where I think the teams are coming in and saying, hey, and I think that's why NASCAR keeps that little 10% there so they can kind of play around with that, give a few points here and there, take some from the tracks, take some from that little kitty, and kind of get that run down there. So we'll see how that plays off over the next couple of years. I should say a year, because I think the contract ends in 2024, setting a new contract for 2025 and beyond. Who's that going to be? Fox, NBC, ESPN? I'm not sure. Can Netflix come into play here? They wanted the F1 stuff and they couldn't get that. ESPN ended up with it. So let's see how this plays out. Streaming is going to come into play in this, no doubt about that. The second rumor that I heard was that Kurt Busch said, hey, I'm thinking about retirement. And he's been hinting around it. Could it be possible? I think it could be, because we have a situation with Denny Hamlin and what he's done with Tyler Reddick, making that announcement 2 years ahead of time. It makes no sense to me, and it's a little bizarre, but I think that's how this is all going to play out. Kurt may leave, Tyler may be in, so we'll see how this plays out. All right, wrapping up the show, I got to let you know who's going to be racing where next week. IndyCar and NASCAR both head to Indy on the road course. That's going to be a spectacular race. F1 will be at Budapest for the Hungarian GP. IMSA is off, and they will be back August 7th at Road America. I'm Rob D'Amico. Don't forget, you can check us out online, RaceDayNation.com. Follow me at Rob D'Amico, ROBDAMICO, and we'll see you next week right here. Thanks for watching Race Day Nation.